Welcome into the Sausage Bowl podcast for episode 12. That's right, coming at you with the 12th episode in the series. We are rolling strong. I'm pretty sure we're gonna get nominated for some awards and stuff. Like it's gonna be great. So glad to be here again. What a crazy weekend. As usual, this is your host Danny with his co-host Cosmo.
Hello, fools. How are you guys doing?
And this week we've got a very special guest, none other than the man going for history himself, formerly known as Snack Attack. It is Taylor.
Hold the applause. Hold the applause. I don't mean to boo. Don't boo, but hold the applause.
Oh, don't worry. Applause wasn't coming.
Yeah. Don't worry about that. But all right, thanks for joining us, Taylor. I know we've been waiting for this. We wanted to bring you on last because we know you've got the juice. So it's gonna be a good one. But how was y'all's weekends in fantasy? Cosmo, was it kind of a frustrating weekend? Was it a good weekend? How was it?
Well, I lost Akshay, so you can imagine I was not very happy. But again, even though I was down in the dubs and I was sad about losing Akshay and potentially losing my playoff spot, there's always a worse situation out there, which someone on this podcast might be feeling. So I guess I can't complain too much.
Yeah, that's true. Taylor, was that a reference to you?
I'll save my weekend. It's no. So far in fantasy, you know what? I was actually, thanks for one of the best games I think we've ever seen this weekend in fantasy. Was fantastic. I loved watching almost every game. So it was a good one. The outcome I'll save, but so far, it was pretty good.
Yeah, it was one of the most exciting weekends in fantasy, I think. We had so many fantasy implications this weekend, especially funneled into just one game. So there was a lot of storylines, things to watch out for. It was a really great week. We'll get all into that. But first, let's hit up Anchorman Cosmo for the news.
Yeah, like Taylor was saying, we probably witnessed one of the greatest games in our generation of NFL history. I think we would be absolutely remiss not to talk about this game. Rams versus Chiefs on Monday Night Football. The Rams ultimately took down the Chiefs 54-51 in one of the greatest shootouts we've ever seen. What were your guys' take on this absolutely enormous game? Because not only was it an exciting game, but it literally had, literally every single one of our matchups this week came down to this game and was decided in the last couple of minutes. So what were your takes on this exciting game?
This was crazy. I was like, I was superstitious. I was like, should I watch? Because usually when I watch these types of games, something bad happens to me on fantasy, and I was like, Mahomes is probably gonna pop off, but I couldn't miss this game, dude. And I had to root for Josh Reynolds and stuff. I was into this game, but I'm really glad I watched it. It was a crazy game, and honestly, I know some old curmudgeons look at it and they're like, no defense was played in this game. College NFL is the new college. But it's like, dude, there was 3 defensive touchdowns in the game. There were strip sacks everywhere. There was interceptions. There was defensive touchdowns, fumbles, sacks. It was so much defense as well as the offense, and so it was just an incredible game. It didn't work in my favor, but I was very excited to watch it. How about you, Taylor?
I could not believe how much fun I was having watching that game. I had a lot riding on the line with Josh Reynolds, but even then, there was at the second quarter, I didn't even care what was happening in terms of my fantasy players. Just watching that game was incredible. You had defensive touchdowns left and right, referees that were horrendous, but it still didn't impede on how much that shootout was going off. And it was down to the wire. I loved every second of it. And having those fantasy implications on top of that just made it even sweeter.
Yeah, that was a great game, keeping up with everyone's storylines. You took your eyes off the game for 1 second, and all of a sudden you'd hear the announcers going oh my God, and you look and there'd be someone sacked in the end zone or some 90-yard touchdown, and you're like, what the? And dude, the refs tried all they could. They tried all they could to ruin that game, but it wasn't. Their efforts were not good enough, and it was a great game. you know, sometimes seeing crazy scores like that is kind of like, okay, well now it's, it doesn't feel like the NFL, but yeah, I still think it was extremely exciting, and I had a
Because
blast watching it. So
the defenses weren't playing bad, like you were saying. Those
yeah,
were defensive scores that happened. Like, it was a good game.
yeah, dude, the Rams, I think in fantasy, the Rams finished with like 18 points or 20 points after getting scored 50 on them. Like, so yeah, it was a great game. But Cosmo, you enjoy it?
Oh yeah, I enjoyed it. I mean, hopefully this might be a precursor to what the next Super Bowl will be. I think no one's going to complain if that ends up being the Super Bowl. My only complaint, my one minor complaint about this game is Jason Witten is not a good
Oh
not a
my
good
God, dude. I
freaking that
think,
guy needs to get pulled from
dude,
Monday
I
night
think all
games.
of Monday
God.
Night Football crew is gonna get fired at the end of the season. Like Jason Witten does not know how to do any sort of commentating. Booger and his little freaking machine riding on the sideline. Like, sure,
Bro.
I wanna ride in that. Like, I bet it's really fun. But Booger adds like zero analysis to the game, and he's moving along a flat field, and yet every time the camera's on him when he's moving the thing, he's like shaking all over the place, and he's like trying to talk, and he's bouncing up and down. I'm like, dude, you're riding on turf. What is going on? But
What grown ass man is named Booger? Let's just start with that. I mean, that's the first problem we have here. Booger, get your ass out of here, dude. Like, Jason Witten needs to shut up, but I hate Booger more. I hate him so
yeah,
much.
dude, Jason needs to be on the Monday Night Crew that's before the game, like the ones with Matt Hasselbeck and Randy Moss and all that. Like, I think he'd fit in more on that than actually commentating the game. So I think he needs to make a change
Or they can
or something.
just stick them on those like 8 a.m. London games. That'll be fine too.
yeah, yeah, it's not his place. But what injuries we got this week, Cosmo?
Yeah, I'll just roll through some of these injuries. A brutal injury for Alex Smith. He broke both his tibia and fibula. It was absolutely disgusting. He will be out for the season, and our boy Colt McCoy will be the starter for the Redskins for the rest of the season. I don't really think this has huge fantasy implications, as Alex Smith wasn't really on anyone's team, but brutal injury there. Marcus Mariota, which I'm sure we'll get into later in the podcast, had an elbow injury and left the game early in this game, and is questionable for Week 12. You're telling me. Kerryon Johnson had a knee injury middle of the game this week, and it will be questionable. And I think he actually was downgraded to out. So if to those Kerryon Johnson owners out there, Uncle Nahum, be on the lookout for that. And then finally, Jimmy Graham broke his thumb last game, but apparently is going to try and play through that injury. Although I mean, he was already doing bad beforehand. I really don't think a broken thumb is gonna make things better.
Yeah, not a great week for him. Yeah, Alex Smith, honestly, it's going to be really hard for him to come back to football at all. I was looking at an update on the injury, and he had a spiral fracture and a compound fracture mixed together, and it just
God.
Spiral is the worst one to come back from. It just completely messes up your bone and everything, and so it's going to be rough for him, but yeah, we'll have to see how it is. All right, well, thank you, Anchorman Cosmo, for always keeping us up to date. We don't pay you enough, that's for sure. But let's get right into the top players of the week. Nope, now's not the time to bring up your salary arguments. Let's get right into.
You said last week we could talk about it after the show, and that obviously never happened. So I mean, what gives?
Are you trying to bring our issues to the public? All right, top players of the week this week. Top 5 quarterbacks. Number 1, of course, we got Patrick Mahomes. Aaron, 35.92 points. What a great draft pick. I wish I had nabbed him up. And apparently, when he plays my team, he throws 6 touchdowns. So good for Aaron. If we happen to meet in the playoffs, Aaron, congratulations. Pat Mahomes is going to score 6 touchdowns again. So number 2, Jared Goff. Duncan, 35.12 points. Both quarterbacks coming out of that amazing game. Number 3, Drew Brees. Nahum, 30.52 points. Always great. Cam Newton for Rahi, 24.48 points. And on Rahi's bench, Andrew Luck, 23.88 points. So Rahi's got some great quarterback depth there. Cosmo, what about our running backs this week?
Coming in at number 1 is Taylor's own God, Saquon Barkley, finishing with 34.2 points. And if I'm not mistaken, Taylor's trying to make some moves on Saquon Barkley right now, trying to swipe right for him and
Cosmo, I told you if he ever gets 40 points, he's getting the biggest handy of his life. I will be right there for him.
Saquon, run, Saquon.
Taylor, wait, let me ask Taylor this real quick. Next year's draft, Taylor, if you have the chance to get Antonio Brown or Saquon.
No, it's Saquon. He has single-handed. We've been through too much.
What are you doing to the person that inevitably is going to snipe him before you get the chance to take him?
Boy, okay, let me make this public service announcement right now. If you touch Saquon Barkley, you will actually, for the first time ever, see the most hood African American. I'm talking roll up to your streets, slash your tires, beat up you, your girlfriend, wife, whatever you got. Do not touch Saquon Barkley. I promise you, it's not end up good. let's just leave it at that.
Wait, heard it here, folks. Do not draft Saquon next year, or you will face the.
Or you might end up like Alex Smith. You know what I'm saying? Sorry, Alex.
You think Alex Smith has it bad? Wait.
All right. Well, coming in at number 2 is Ezekiel Elliott for the Cowboys, with Brandon's team with 29.6 points. Really, really picking it up late in the season.
They fired their offensive line coach, got a new one, and then they swapped. They had their rookie they drafted on the offensive line. They benched him and put in someone else, and ever since then Zeke's been like a 25+ point guy every week. So
yeah,
it's crazy.
Sometimes all it takes is a coaching change to make the difference. Coming in at number 3, we have Mr. Green himself, Aaron Jones, with 24.8 points for Danny's team. And I gotta say, Danny, your call that Aaron Jones was not going to be a top 15 running back is looking pretty dumb. I mean, not gonna lie.
Do you know what else is looking dumb? What else is looking dumb? Stephon Diggs having more points than Adam Thielen after missing an entire game that Adam Thielen played and he didn't play.
We got 3 more games. He's gonna
we'll figure it out.
Rise from the ashes this week. Coming in at number 4, we have Philip Lindsay with 24.6 points for Rahi's team. And then finally, at number 5, we have Mark Ingram with 22.3 points with Brandon's team. Taylor, hit us with those top 5 receivers.
All right, I got you. Number 1, we've got Tyreek Hill for Brandon for 38.5 points. That's ridiculous. I mean, it's not unexpected. This man kills it from the outside. And especially in the shootout that we had, it was predicted. Number 2, we've got T.Y. Hilton with Cameron for 32 points. Also, an explosiveness from T.Y. Hilton coming off of a season where he's very wishy-washy. This year, he's been kind of like, I wouldn't say as consistent as A.J. Green, but really up there. He's been on this list a bunch. Mm-hmm. We got Traquan Smith at number 3 for in the free agency. Guys, I want to ask straight up, who the fuck is Traquan Smith?
he plays on the Saints, dude. He caught Drew Brees' what was it? What record did Drew Brees break? Oh, all-time passing leader. Yeah, he caught that touchdown. So he's on the Saints.
Like, I mean, he's a free agent coming off of 26.7 points. I know that's part of our transactions this week, but man, that came out of nowhere. But when you have a team like the Saints that have so many weapons, come on, like, you don't know who's going to blow up. DJ Moore, another free agent, 25.2 points. If I'm not mistaken, one of y'all had him earlier this year, right?
Was it me or was it Cosmo?
Cosmo.
I had him and just picked him back up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's actually not a free agent anymore. But
I have a note of that. But next up, Stephon Diggs with Nahum for 25.1 points. Very consistent all year. I mean, it's amazing to see that he's back up here. I don't understand why, but it's great to see he's back up here. Now to the tight ends, yo.
All right. Well, for our top 5 tight ends this week, we had a lot of poopers this week in the main tight ends, so we've got some new names in here. Number 1, Travis Kelce, 23.7 points for Nahum. Nice solid week for him. He's been kind of boom or bust, just depends on who the touchdowns go to from Pat Mahomes, but great week from him. Number 2, we've got Gerald Everett sniping those touchdowns from Josh Reynolds, getting 18.4 points. Free agent. I don't know if someone picked him up. I forgot to check. But number 3, Jordan Reed, Duncan, 16.6 points. A great showing from Jordan Reed, which probably means this week he's going to get 0. Number 4, Antonio Gates, the old man himself, on the free agency waiver wires, 16.5 points. And then finally, Robert Tonyan with 11.9 points, free agent, the fourth, I kid you not, fourth string tight end for the Green Bay Packers, catching that like 80-yard touchdown from, or not 80-yard, like 50-yard touchdown from Aaron Rodgers this week. And now Jimmy Graham's kind of hobbled. Is this guy going to be the next guy up? I don't know, but really great week from him. So those are your top players of the week in each position. A lot of new names in there, a lot of new teams in there. It was a crazy week. But all right, let's move right into our bench Ragrets. First, we have Duncan, who lost to Brandon in just an incredible matchup this week. But on his bench, he had Keenan Allen with 19.5 points. And would this have gotten him the win? I did not check this.
No, it would put him ahead. Keenan Allen, I think, outperformed a couple of his receivers, but they also did pretty well. It wouldn't have made like a huge difference.
Yeah, he only would have got like 6 points, so he would not have won, unfortunately. But Keenan Allen on a hot streak lately. I mean, he hasn't scored less than like 17 points or something since coming off their bye week, pretty similar to last year. Taylor, our esteemed guest today, on his bench, he had John Ross at 9.7 and Dak Prescott at 14.82, and unfortunately, very sadly, if he had played Dak Prescott over Ryan Fitzpatrick, he would have gotten that win this week. And actually, if he had played John Ross over Corey Davis, he would have gotten the win as well. But I mean, who's gonna do that? Like, let's be honest. But
I mean, it's hard. It's hard when you lose by 0.2. When your entire team is a regret, you know.
Well,
like, really, is it just bench regrets anymore? I have one player and a bunch of crayons. Like, literally,
should we rename this segment to Taylor Ragrets now? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, I just sit every week and I'm like, all right, which irrelevant receiver am I going to play this week?
Bring back Mike Williams.
Oh, man.
What is it? I have McGuire on my bench, homie. Like, what else can I do? I have nothing. Literally. I didn't even know we had whiteout fives. That's all that. There's a whiteout five.
Taylor, we feel bad because just looking at your moves from outside opinion this year, like you've made like gold moves. Like you've picked up great waiver wire pickups. You've been on top of the ball with everything, you know. But it's just like injuries have taken you down. People that were super good just all of a sudden start sucking and they just don't ever stop sucking, and it's like, what is going on? And so yeah, unfortunately for Taylor, did not get the win this week and had a couple Ragrets on his bench. But next up, we've got myself. I lost this week to Aaron. He took me down 2-0 this season. It's rough, dude. But I had Russell Wilson 18 points and Aaron Jones 24 points on my bench. So going into this week, I was deciding between Leonard Fournette or Aaron Jones who to play. I mean, both did well, but if I had played Aaron Jones, I would have gotten the win. And if I had played Russell Wilson over Matt Ryan, would have gotten the win as well. But I didn't expect Matt Ryan to be hobbled as much as he was by the Dallas defense, because I know the Dallas defense is good, but I just feel like I just felt like he would have been able to get at least 20 plus points or something like that on them. But yeah, unfortunately. Yeah, I need to start So I was sitting there watching ESPN, and all of a sudden this random stat comes up, and it says that Matt Ryan against top 3 scoring defenses is 1-11 in his career. And so I was sitting there and I was like, okay, let me check what Dallas is. So I checked what Dallas is, and they're number 3 on the season. And so I was like, shoot, is this an omen? Do I need to start Russell Wilson? But I was like, I don't know. Green Bay is so bad against the quarterback. And Russell Wilson, he's so shaky. So I was like, I'm going to stick with my rock, Matt Ryan. I'll stick with them. But I should have listened to it. But oh well. Would have gotten me the win, but that's the name of the game. Bench Ragrets. So all right, then we move on to Cameron, who I don't know what Cameron was doing, dude. He's like his entire bench.
Don't get me. Continue. I'm sorry. Cameron, it's okay.
Stuck in your throat there, Taylor.
Yeah. I have to. Yeah, no, I'll save it. You're good.
Dude,
Go
Cameron's got so many Ragrets right now. I mean, Matt Stafford would have gotten him more points. Lamar Miller rearing his ugly head again would have gotten him like 8 more points. I mean, he was down 15. So yeah, Jalen Richard, Josh Adams would have gotten him about 10 more points. So I think he actually could have gotten the win. But yeah, Lamar Miller loves to be on Cameron's bench, Ragrets, but when Cameron starts him, he does not like to help Cameron out. So interesting there. And then finally, we got Cosmo with Philip Rivers on his bench. And would that have gotten you the win, Cosmo?
I need to talk about this one for a second.
All right, talk about it.
I feel like a lot of times when a team has misses the playoffs or has a train wreck of a season, it's usually a multitude of like a lot of different factors. Bad luck, injuries. Look at Taylor's team this week. It's just Taylor's just been hit this year with a ton of bad luck. And so it's, there's not really one thing you can pinpoint to explain like why someone had a bad season or why they missed the playoffs. But for myself personally, I might miss the playoffs based on one move and one move alone. And it is this exact move. And I really cannot tell you exactly why I made this move or what my thought process was. But Saturday, like 12 hours before the game started, I had Philip Rivers, right in my quarterback spot. Philip Rivers has been one of the most consistent quarterbacks all season. Hasn't scored below, I think, like 14 points all year. For whatever reason, I just decided to change it up. I didn't even spend a lot of time agonizing for it. I just was like, you know what, F it. I put in Marcus Mariota, and he scored 3 points, and I lost by 2. So I really think that this one decision could potentially be the downfall of my season. If I would have played Philip Rivers, not only would I have won, but I probably would have locked up my playoff spot. I wouldn't be in any danger. I could lose to Aaron this week and still probably be all right. But now, because I made this dumb decision, my season may be over.
Yeah, don't worry. We'll have some stress relief in a few segments. We'll try to get over that hump, that little bit of tilt in you, and we'll reflect on all that playoff stuff in a second. But yeah, those are our bench Ragrets for this week. And next, let's get right into King Sausage of Week 11 is none other than Brandon Ramsey, coming in with 163 points, just absolutely dominating this week in a tough matchup against Duncan. I believe that is it's either the highest point total or the second highest point total. I can't remember if I scored 162 or 164 that one week, but great showing from Brandon this week. Even with someone scoring 0 on his team, he still caught the King Sausage of the week. I feel bad for Duncan because he's trying so hard to get a King Sausage this year, keeps getting it sniped from him, and now he misses out on it with someone who got 0 points from their tight end. So, but this week, congratulations to repeat offender Brandon for your King Sausage Award. Your award is in the mail, so be looking for it. Really great showing from Brandon, and he is, as usual, he's rearing his ugly head right in time for playoffs. So his team had a little bit of a down part of the year, wasn't looking good, but now he's back on the rise and looks like a contender once again to go back to back to back. So, or not back to back to back, but his third championship. So it's looking really good. Congratulations, King Sausage of the Week. Now, unfortunately, we got to get into this.
I mean, do we really? I mean, I think sometimes we get a little too.
Sausage smells like dogs and cats.
And
I wonder why.
The Stanky Sausage goes to Cosmo. That's right. Cosmo not only grabs the Stanky Sausage, but he grabs it from the most stanky, the most revolting Stanky Sausage owner, Akshay. That is right. Cosmo this week scored 98 points to Akshay's 99. This was the battle for the Stanky Sausage, and Cosmo comes away with it. So how do you feel, Cosmo?
I'm just gonna go down to Uncle Nahum's basement and take some long time to reflect on this week. And
are you gonna pass this award off to Marcus?
To Marcus, if I ever meet Marcus Mariota, and I mean, honestly, it's not even Marcus Mariota's fault. Honestly, I should have known this guy sucked. I mean, that's completely on me. Like, the guy's been a freaking terrible player throughout it. I mean, not terrible, but he's been. I mean, you can't trust Titan players.
Well, as soon as he has a good week, he follows it up with just an awful week most of the time.
Note to future fantasy players: do not start Titan players.
If you take anything away from this podcast at the end of the year, take these 3 things. 1,
don't listen to y'all 2.
Okay, all right. Take away these 4 things. I mean, side note: if Taylor had listened to me this week, he would have gotten the win. But anyway, so take away these 3 things.
That is true. In his defense, I would have. It is very true.
I told him to play Josh Reynolds and Dak Prescott, and if he would have done that, he would have gotten the win. But all right, so take away these 3 things. Don't ever listen to Matt Berry unless you're playing Cosmo and I. Don't play any Bengals person or Andy Dalton in a primetime game. And don't ever play Marcus Mariota or a Titans person after they come off a really good week. Take those 3 things away, and you will have fantasy success. So remember that from the future. But unfortunately, this week, stanky sausage for my co-host Cosmo. I'm sorry about that, bro. But you have brighter days ahead, hopefully. So King Sausage to Brandon, congratulations, and stanky sausage to Cosmo, congratulations. So all right, let's get right into our weekly playoff standings update. We're getting very close now. We've only got 2 more weeks, so let's update everyone. Last week, as everyone remembers, President Fight Milk Duncan clinched a playoff spot and is officially in the playoffs. His seeding still is up in the air, but he does not have to worry about being knocked out of the playoffs. And this week, we have none other than Rahi Courage is joining him in the clinched spot. That is right. Rahi's butt is clinched right now, and he is in the playoffs. And right now, if the playoffs were to end today, it'd be Duncan number 1, Rahi number 2, both with bye weeks, Brandon number 3, Nahum number 4, myself number 5, and Cosmo number 6. So Brandon and Cosmo would face off in the first round. Nahum and I would face off in the first round, and Duncan and Rahi would be waiting for us. So congratulations to Rahi clinching a playoff spot after his very tough season.
We could have skipped this section. I mean, we're giving pity fucks now. No, hey, excuse me. Yeah, he did.
This is a family podcast.
Yeah, this is a family podcast.
He clinched his playoff spot. Good for you. Slow clap. There you go, Rahi. That's what you get today.
All right. Well, yeah, we'll get into that in a little bit. But all right, Rahi clinched a spot. Now let's talk about some fantasy playoff implications. So right now we've got the non-clinched people: Brandon 7-4, Nahum 7-4, myself 6-5, and Cosmo 6-5. Right on the bubble, we've got Aaron at 5-6, Cameron at 4-7, and Akshay at 4-7. So the chances for Cameron and Akshay are very, very, very slim. But if they can win 2 games, and then they have to hope for a lot of extra stuff. But if they can win out, they still might have a very slight chance, but it's looking pretty tough. But the one that has the best shot of all is Aaron at 5-6, because he gets, this is just as juicy as it gets, people. Cosmo and Aaron face each other this week. The 6 seed against the 7 seed, 6-5, 5-6. So if Aaron takes the cake this week, they both move to 6-6, and then it's up to tiebreakers, which they're both very close in points scored right now. This week could have a huge implication on fantasy, as Cosmo alluded to earlier. So that's the one to kind of watch for. I'm also 6-5 as well. So, if I have a couple of bad weeks, lose out, I could actually be on the bubble myself too. Fortunately, I have points for the tiebreaker going a little bit in my favor there. But, Brandon and Nahum are not safe either. There are worlds where, if they have a couple bad weeks, they lose out, other people win out. They could be on the bubble too, you never know. And we're hoping that maybe, just maybe, Taylor beating Brandon in week 13 could have a huge fantasy playoff implication. So we'll have to see if that storyline comes true. But so congratulations, Rahi, clinching a spot after your tough season. Not quite as tough as others, but still a tough season. So congratulations, 8-3, looking good for the playoffs. So that was your weekly playoff update. After this week, we will only have 1 more week before the playoffs are locked in. So keep up with that. But congratulations, Rahi. All right. Well, Cosmo, as you know from this week, fantasy can cause a lot of stress, right? Like you put this time into it, you put this effort into it, and then other people that don't put as much effort into it beat you, or they get lucky, and you could try to put as much thought into it as you want, and you still lose by just some lucky touchdown or someone taking a knee and stuff, and it crazy things happen. It can be really stressful. So I was thinking, why don't we gather the boys? We get you, we get me, we get Akshay, we get Rahi, we get Duncan, we get Nahum, we get Aaron, we get Brandon, we get Cameron. We gather all the boys. Is that everyone? I don't remember. I wasn't counting too well, but yeah, that's
I don't
everyone.
know if Akshay
That's
is
everyone.
quite a boy, but yeah.
All right, we take our 8 boys and we take our 1 kid. So we got Akshay in there. I was thinking we need a little bit of stress relief. Would you agree? Would you agree we need some stress relief? So
Yeah, I mean, I need a steam, honestly. This
Yeah.
whole week's got me down. I just need some
Yeah.
sort of outlet.
I was thinking about it. I was doing some reading. I was like, you know what? Dallas is a pretty there's a lot of cool places to go for young people. I was like, where can we blow off some steam? And then, dude, I found this new club. It's the new hottest club in Dallas, downtown Dallas. And I think we should get the boys and our kid and we should hit it up. Like, what do you think?
You know what? I'm down. Do they have male strippers there?
Oh, of course, dude. Of course. But it's the newest, latest, hottest club in Dallas. That's right. We're taking the boys. We're going downtown and we're hitting up Club Phoenix. That's right. That's right. Screech from Taylor. We got Club Phoenix. Oh, we've got our boys. We're rolling up in our party bus. We're rolling up to Club Phoenix. Oh,
Hold up. Are y'all guys on the list?
Oh, shoot. Is this wait, Cosmo, is this Taylor the bouncer?
I think it is. I wasn't aware that there was a list.
Oh, shoot. There's a list. Mr. Bouncer, sir, there's a list to get in here?
It's the hottest club in all of Dallas, filled with male strippers, trannies, you name it. It's got everything you want. He, she's, and
oh, dude, you gotta let us in, man. Come on,
please let us in, please. We got our boys, we got our kid. Please let us in.
We're just trying to blow off some stress, man.
All right. Hold on. Let me see what I can do. I'm gonna have to check this list real quick and go down and see what y'all guys have done so far. And who's up first? Is there a Duncan a President Fight Milk?
Present.
All right. Well, actually, you know what? Coming off the draw, I think President Fight Milk has had one of the best seasons so far. Started off pretty well. Man has only made 18 moves, but why do you have to make a lot of moves when you play smart, Best move so far, or dumbest move so far, to be honest, was when he dropped Jacksonville to pick up Derrick Henry, which I attribute to his loss last week because Derrick Henry's a curse. So I don't know what the hell you were thinking of there. But for the most part, I have nothing to say about him. About to get married. You know what? He's all good. I'm gonna let him pass. I'm gonna let him go on through.
Hey, good job, Duncan.
Next. All right, hold up. Oh, sorry. I got this turmeric smell that I just can't shake up. Oh, it's the scum of the league, Rahi. Okay. Now, I'm going to give him some credit here. His David Johnson trade was pretty beneficial to him. But let me just line you up and put on a comparative analysis real quick. Rahi talks some mad shit for having some of the lowest points in the league and having the lowest points against in the league. You want to talk about luck on a team? You lost your first-round draft pick and act like you've made some of the best trades in the world. Need I remind you, sir, that you picked up Alfred Blue and dropped Dante Moncrief? A person who had 3 TDs compared to Alfred Blue's 1, who barely touches the field? On top of that, once again, you're talking that hot shit. You are 2 places in terms of points above me, sir. You're right next to trash. You can smell it. You're right there, man. You just lucked out, and you have every ounce of luck that is dragging you further and further into the season. And the most pathetic thing is, you almost lost to me by 0.2 points. That should tell you how close you are to trash. You are right next to there. And you think you're going to, just because you clinched a playoff spot, don't mean you're going to make it through the playoffs. And if you ain't first, you last. My God, I have sat here and tried to fathom how somebody so pathetically terrible and has had no actual competent moves all season has managed to make it this far. Man, that's an act of God. So I don't know whatever 7,152 Indian gods you got to thank, but you better go to the mosque and thank every single one of them. My man. Let me tell you right now, though, your record does not get you into this club, so get the fuck out.
Oh, he just threw him into the trash. Oh, my God. Did you see Taylor throw him like that?
Oh, shoot. I didn't know. I didn't know this happened.
Dude, Taylor just threw him and shot-putted him over into the dumpster.
Dang,
I mean,
dude,
I had no time for that.
Dang, Raleigh was really looking forward to watching those trainings, too.
Yeah, he can sit in that cum-filled dumpster for all I care. Next. Oh, well, okay. We have, you know what? My main man, Mr. Brandon Frederick. You know what? Let me just go ahead and say, jokes aside, on my list, I think that he's played the smartest season so far. He's made some of the most competent trades, which is honestly surprising because I can never tell if Brandon's taking things seriously or not. But this season, he came out with a bang. Just off this week, picking up Cameron Brate, picked up Duke Johnson Jr., picked up Mitch Trubisky, picked up Danny Amendola, Marlon Mack, and that's just the tip of the iceberg on his actual power plays. And the best thing about it all, he sits on top of the waiver wire. He's been playing his waiver cards so smart all season. It's been impressive. Trying to look at some sort of faults in his logic or his gameplay has almost been impossible. He even managed to pick up Javarius Allen right before he had a 16-point week. My man, you definitely. Oh, wait, hold on. I forgot. There ain't no black people allowed in my club. Get the fuck out.
Oh, I did not see that coming. Oh, Brandon, you okay? Oh, dude, he threw Brandon like 30 feet into that dumpster, dude.
Oh, man.
I'm sorry. I just have no tolerance for the African-American sort. But I think who's up next is an actual 100% African. What is it? Yeah, whatever. Slavery is a choice. Now, I'm going to be 100% honest here. Trying to rip up Nahum's decisions this season was honestly one of the easiest and hardest things ever because he has no fucking rhyme or reason to anything he's doing. I honestly think this man has shot random darts out and saying, I'm going to pick up this player, I'm going to drop him up, let's just play for fun. I don't know what the hell you've been doing. You picked up Des Bryant and dropped Yeldon. What the fuck, dude? Who makes a play like that? And you know what the worst part is? That was the week Yeldon scored 21 points. That's how you play the game. At the very least, pick up a player who plays a game. That wasn't even in when he was signed up to the Saints. You consciously had to click that button to actually be like, let me drop Yeldon for Des Bryant, who got injured 6 days into his training. I don't know what the hell you were thinking. I actually don't know. I don't know if you were trying to see into the future or trying to ruin your entire career. It's baffling. You're 4th place and you're making idiotic decisions that rival Akshay. I don't understand. I really don't. I will give you some credit though. Let me pull it back a bit and say that you did originally pick up Yeldon after dropping Pierre Garcon, and that was a really smart move. I don't know why you had Pierre in the first place, but that was a really smart move. And your Calvin Ridley pickup was also very smart because both of those had incremental payoffs. But my man, like literally, I went down your transaction list. I've watched you all season. It's like there's like for every good thing, there's a bad thing. And so every time I think you're smart, you do something that makes me question that. And logically, like you're one of the smartest people I know, which is why I don't understand why some of these logical decisions don't come out straight. But I'm gonna be very positive. I'm gonna be very kind. I gotta have affirmative action here, and I'm gonna let you into the club. Next. Oh, hold up. I think I got my two hosts up next, and I actually had y'all combined.
Oh shoot.
Oh yeah.
Do I have a Danny Spalding and a Cockable Barnes?
Yeah, Danny's here.
It's
Okay.
not Cockmo. It's Cosmo.
Yeah.
Just
Okay.
saying.
Okay, that can't be your real name, but whatever. All right. So
Danny's here.
let me preface this by saying that in terms of host, y'all are both fantastic, and your podcast is great.
Thank you.
In terms of your playing this year, I don't know what's up. How do both of you guys have the most moves in the league and have somehow still managed to stay tied for the middle all season? Literally, you try to make the most smart decisions and then take risk and gambles that make you. You guys are the most educated fantasy players in the league, hands down. I think you guys do the most research and spend the most time. And so I'm not understanding and processing how Danny can have 44 moves and Cosmo can have 40 moves and somehow have the same record, which isn't winning. I don't understand. Both of you guys are on the chopping block next to the guess what? And after this, the league's quality completely disintegrates. But how are y'all guys even in the? There should be no reason why I look at y'all guys' teams, look at y'all guys' records, and I'm like, you know what? They actually might not make it to playoffs, even though you have 44 moves and 40 moves. That doesn't fucking make sense. Okay, time out. Let me break it down to actually be in the particulars. Danny, need I remind you? You picked up Corey Komet while dropping Cooper Kupp.
Ooh.
Need I remind you? You picked up Mark Walton by dropping Gianni Bernard, which I don't even know. That's not even a quality trade. Like you picked up shit for shit. Like what are you doing? You dropped them later. Dante Foreman, you picked him up too. Like you make your trades. To me, I looked at all of them. Most of them aren't bad trades. It's just you're just trading for the sake of trading. You're easily just clicking buttons to be like, let me make the most moves in the league because I want that medal that Yahoo's going to give me. I want to be at 50 moves. Let me keep on making these. Homie, chill the fuck out. Sometimes less moves is more. I mean, look at Brandon chilling at 20 moves and easily at the top. Sometimes less is more, but you and Cosmo, we gotta keep on trading. I'm gonna try and see in the future and pick up some shit that I think might explode. And guess what happened? Cosmo decides that he wants to play a little ballsy and loses last week because he decided, I want to play. I think I'm God. I want to play whoever I want to play. I want to play Mariota. Nah, fool. You think you're getting off the hook too, Harry? Bring that ass back over here, boy. You have been rubbing up on David and Njoku all season like this man is going to treat you like an unfat spouse, and you keep on going back to him every time he hits you in the face and is like, nah, he only hits me at night. He only hits me on the right eye. Like, homie, you sound like a beat up wife. To be honest, every time you're like, oh, he's going to play better next week. Oh, yes, David Njoku, so I know you're going to play. Shut up, dude. Drop his ass. Play smarter. For one of the smartest fantasy players in this league, it does not make sense why you have been rubbing that dude's nuts so hard this entire season. Like, literally, have you checked your hands recently? They must be red and dry and like cracking. How much of a hand you have given David and Njoku this entire time? It's fucking ridiculous. Like, I don't understand. It's not competent. It is not. Homie, I have the tight ends just chilling on my bench. Get a trade. It's It's not that hard. Like literally, your trades have been. I mean, your trades and your drops and your ads have been pretty good. But in that tight end spot, oh no, I can't let my baby David go. Oh no, he gonna hurt me if he finds out. He gonna hurt me if you have been holding on to this Negro for as long as the season has happened, and nothing great has been coming out of it. You talk about him like he's fucking the Saquon Barkley at tight end. You talk about him like he's in the same caliber as Kelsey. Let's see, how many times? Let's play a quiz. How many times has David Njoku actually been in the top 5 tight ends? Y'all hear that? Oh, yeah, that ding. Don't you run, because he sucks. I don't understand what you're talking about. Danny, you get in the club.
Oh, thanks,
Cosmo,
man.
Harry,
Yeah, I'm getting in too, right?
out of pity alone, and because I know your husband will find you if you go back home after this, you can get in the club too.
Hey. Danny, do you wanna hit up the secret room back there?
Oh yeah, just you and me, right?
Let's go.
All right.
Oh, man. Well, you know what? The positive thing is that at the very least, we get a little more positive from here, and we get to talk about. Oh shit, my bad. I almost missed Aaron. Aaron, bring your ass here, boy. Time out. Okay, I'm gonna need let me put on my glasses for this one. Aaron, one of your trades this season was picking up Alfred Morris. I don't give a fuck who you dropped. You picked up Alfred Morris. That is an example of how irrelevant always goes along with irrelevant, because you're an irrelevant player in this league. I don't understand what you've been doing all season. I don't understand what you like. You know what? I'll give credit to everybody else for making some very strategic plays, but you go against the grain. You know what? You refuse to play Crowell, and how many times has he been on your bench, Ragrets? And you know, if I remember correctly, if I remember very, very correctly, I had, being the loving, caring person I am, I decided to be like, you know what? Let me see if you're open to trades for Crowell. And you can't trade Deshaun Watson and Dalvin Cook for Saquon. This not even the same caliber. What was it? I said, hey, who do you want for Crowell? He was like, Crowell for AJ Green. My man, that is not an offer. That is not a trade. I don't know what you were asking for. I forgot. You think we're on the same caliber just because I'm losing? No, sir. I'm losing out of misfortune. You're losing just because you made dumb shit. Like, I don't know what to tell you. You actively go against what you really want to do. And, like, let's pull it back. You dropped DJ Moore in the start of the season, picking up Juno Smith. I had to actually look up who that was. It's a tight end who hasn't played all year. Like, I ran out of things to say about you, Aaron, because at the end of the day, I do think that you come and bring very great power. Joking aside, I think that you bring some great quality to the league in terms of laughs, because every time I look at your team, I genuinely laugh, and I genuinely always get a great kick knowing that no matter whether I go to bed at night, there is somebody in the league who actively tries to be worse than me, and that gives me peace at night, and I'm okay with that. So, you know what, Aaron? Out of pity fucks alone, you get in the club.
Hey, D'Amico Arapaho.
Come join us in the room, bro.
Well, you know, we're down to our final two, and I don't know if your entire rest of your crew's getting in the club. So, who do we have? A Cameron here?
Yeah.
Oh, we do. Cameron, you came into the season bitch made. Your name is anything but last. And somehow you were trying and vying to be last. I forget you're in the league sometimes. You're just along there, too. You came on, and I remember you quoted, and I quote you saying, do I even have to talk about Taylor? We know how this game's going to go. Sir, why are you talking like you're number one in the league? You won in a year that no one must have been checking their Yahoo, because Obviously, we weren't playing properly. We weren't playing competently, letting you sneak a win. You decided, I got to win once. I think I'm hot shit, but don't get it twisted. Lightning strikes once every few years, and guess what? You're back next to last, 2 places higher than me. You really ain't that. You really ain't that great. You really ain't making that many smart decisions. I don't even, normally this is the part where I go into your trades and I actually identify some of the great decisions that you made all season. But I didn't even have to do that for you because I knew you haven't done shit. So I know for a fact that tight ends are cursed on your team and you refuse to actually draft a good one. That's cool. I really, it's hard to talk about you and it's hard to talk about your team when you don't have any weapons or anything actually viable left to be considerable for actually making it to the top number 1 spot. Earnestly thinking, I don't look at your team and think you're ever going to make number. I don't even think you're going to make it to playoffs. Right now, you're just kind of lucking yourself out. Maybe, hopefully, kind of, sort of, like you're still in the league out of pity. I don't know. But whatever. You're here. Like, you have fun. You just keep on coasting by on that season and suck up that 8th place. But get the fuck out of my club.
Oh, ouch, dude. He threw Aaron so far. I mean, not Aaron. Cameron so far.
And now let me go back and say that anything I've said in terms of actual insults has all been jokes for the most part. Actually, Nahum, I still really don't know what the fuck you've been doing all season. But everybody else has been primarily jokes. This next one.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
The Sausage Bowl podcast does not advocate for anything that Taylor says.
Hold on. Go ahead and play that trash can noise because you know this one ain't making it into the club. Hold up. You, sir, Mr. Verma, you've done it. You said that you wanted to make this league entertaining, and yes, you know what, slow clap for you, you have. Because for some reason all season, it's just amazing to see how an IQ can go negative in actual real life. That is what I think of every time I see one of your fantasy plays. Every single time. You do things that are you used your 5th waiver priority to pick up a kicker. You actually actively use priority waivers to pick up irrelevant players. You used your 3rd waiver priority to pick up Eno Smith, and then dropped him for Frank Gore. Literally, you did that back to back. You dropped a running back for a kicker. Right now on your team, if you log in, you have 2 kickers. Who keeps 2 kickers just chilling on their team? What logical sense does that bring? But you know what, actually? They might as well call you the fucking gift to the league because you've been handing out players to all the top people for free, basically. Cosmo is your bitch right now because Cosmo has been drinking up everything that you've been giving him so he can just jack your shit because everybody has been jacking your shit. Now, Akshay, I'm not here to insult your trades because I understand your thought process behind your trades. But you have to understand, you gotta understand, I'm gonna open up a textbook for you. I know you don't read, but I'm gonna open up a textbook for you, and you need to go scroll over to where it says comparative advantage. Understand the utility in having a strong player versus getting like 7 players that will eventually eclipse your entire fucking. You get what I'm saying here? I know it sounds smart to be like, you know what, I traded out 1 really great player for 5 pretty good ones. Nigga, you can't play all 5, though. They have to go on your bench. Do you not process that? Do you not process that? When people offer you more people for just 1 person, there is a maximum amount of people you can actually play on your team. That's not how trade works. You can't just give out people for free. I could sit here all day and roast how just illogical. You have the same amount of moves as Brandon and are the exact opposite ranking as him. You guys both share the exact same number of moves and have somehow you have not learned that you. Let me pull it back a little bit. Akshay, just take it from Taylor right here. Really, like just take it from me. Go ahead and there should be this little. I know you have an Android. There's this purple icon. It says Yahoo Fantasy. If you click on it and hold on it, it'll let you uninstall it. And go ahead and delete your Yahoo account as well, because we don't need you here anymore. I don't want you here on these streets. I don't want you here giving out free wins anymore. Don't hand out any more players. Don't hand out anything. And I know what you're gonna say. I know exactly. I can read your mind. Well, Taylor, you lost to me. Well, yes, actually, I did lose to you, and two wrongs don't make a right. So let me just tell you right now, you're right above me. You're destined for 9th place. You've joked around it all season about how bad your team is, but the saddest part about it all is that you made the team bad yourself. You did that on your own. It's not because of injuries. That's the most funny thing. It's not because of injuries. It's not because of some unfortunate luck. You consciously pressed those trade buttons, those drop buttons, and kept on giving away your plays yourself. So, sir, you know what? At the very least, you deserve a pity fuck too. Let me pick your ass up out of that dumpster. You actually get in the club. Go ahead and take care of the
Hey.
And I believe that's our list. And so guys, once again, let me say, first of all jokes. I'm not trying to actually hurt your guys' feelings, except Nahum really still don't know what the fuck you've been doing. But like seriously, y'all guys have some fun in the club. I'm gonna take some people out of those who are in the dumpsters. I know there's some prostitutes around the corner, so go check them out.
All right, yeah, everyone that's in the club, let's bow, boy. Oh man, that Club Phoenix was hot. Cosmo, was that get enough steam out? That blow off some steam, Cosmo?
Dude, I did a lot of activity, blew off my steam in Club Phoenix, man. Oh my god, I feel so much better.
Oh, dude, that was so much better. Dude, well deserved, great ratings on that club. Dude, let's hit that club up again. You know what I'm saying? But that was great. And what a way to blow off steam. Great time in Club Phoenix. But all right, yeah. Once again, just want to make sure everyone's clear. You know, Taylor has had a very horrible luck season. 11 in a row losses, 0-11, going for that historical 0-13 in our league. I don't think it's ever been done before. Cameron got close, 1-12, but Taylor's going for history here, and he needed his moment, right? He needed to blow off some steam, blow off those frustrations. So yeah, just once again, everything's a joke. You know, we're just trying to have a little bit of fun here. So no, don't take it too personally. But
yeah, please don't take it personally. Like I genuinely have been saying that I wanted to roast everybody, and so I did go down and I looked at your transactions, and I just. Nothing to do with your personality. I think everybody in the league deserves to play. I think everybody. It's so much fun being able to play with y'all guys for so many years. And you know, if I have to roast myself, I'm more than happy to. I'll tell you right now, my team's shit. I'm playing with wide R5s. I have nothing. I'm literally cruising up and down waiver wires, hoping for some. Like I'm trying to find golden shit, and there's more shit. Like so, I just keep on digging deeper into shit. And basically, I'm like Bugs Bunny, like down there in this fucking cave that I can't get out of. I'm fucking 0-11. Like, why should you take anything I say seriously as I'm the last in the league. I'm the back of the bus. Like I am separated from the pack. I'm that one deer that you shoot out of pity because you know it just won't survive by itself out in the wilderness. Like, I am back there by myself. There's a gap so wide between me and Akshay, which I can't even believe I'm saying. There's a gap of wins that I've been out of the playoff running since week 5. How do you come into week 5 and be out of the playoff running? Right now, like I look at my team every day, and it's not even one of those things where like, oh, I'm gonna play this person. Oh, I'm gonna play this person. It's literally just a size. Like, all right, another week of fantasy. Here we go. Like, I mean, come on. Like, how do you play every week like this? I sit down and I have to contemplate ways on how I'm actually gonna scrub out some sort of shitty victory. Like, it's not ever gonna happen. I'm lying to myself every morning. Like literally, you want to talk about a person who lies to himself every day? I have to lie to myself to believe that I'm going to win a game in fantasy. You know how hurtful that is? You wake up in the morning, I believe I can do it. when like Disney shit don't come true. You don't rub, no wishes come true here. I'm wishing that I'm only end the season 1-12, but I'm gonna end the season 0-13. Like, how do you understand? Like, I open up my app and Saquon is the only honestly, I feel bad for Saquon because he is carried down by so much dead weight. It's like even in the positions where you would think I'd have someone, I have no one. My quarterback, who's supposed to be consistent, has never actually. I think I have had the only quarterback in the entire league who consistently scores 11 points, 8 points, 7 points every single week. I don't understand how I keep on drafting this shit. Like literally, if you're on my team, you're going to die. Either you're going to break yourself, or you're just going to fall into irrelevancy somehow. Like literally, you want to talk about? I told you, Aaron, that you draft irrelevant, homie. I draft irrelevant. Who the hell is Josh Reynolds? Who is he? That's what I thought. Like, if you look at my bench right now, tell me you've ever actually heard. Tell me you've ever actually heard of some of those players. Play that game. Play that game. Like, go. Actually, you should play that game. Take a shot for every player you've heard on my team. You'll take one shot. Literally one shot. It's Saquon. That's it. That's the only amount of players I have. I kid you not. Y'all want to, I have, my word ain't shit. I am the worst right now. I am in the worst spot. I have nothing. There is nothing on my team. I have thought about, you know what the funniest thing was? I thought about trading for somebody, but how can you trade when you have nothing? So I don't even have trades. Like I can't even trade. Like, that's not an option for me. You want to talk about why you've never seen, you want to talk about how you look at my name, I have one trade? It's because I only had one player that I was able to trade at the start of the season. I haven't been able to trade since the start. That's not even an option. My app, I kid you, I swear on my life, Cosmo, I sent you a text. I said, hey, are we supposed to have 6 players on our bench? Because Yahoo Fantasy has only let me keep 5 players on my bench to stop me from drafting irrelevant players. That's not a joke. I could not draft. I only have 5 people in my bench. If you go back every single week in this season, I only have 5 people on my bench. Because even Yahoo knew that it wouldn't matter how many people I drafted and how many moves I made, I was still going to lose. That exactly what I was going to do. So if you were hurt after a little bit of joking, roasting, trust me, I lived this shit. I roast myself. I wake up, I'm like, this is pathetic. Like there's nothing bright about my team. Saquon is on some shit. Saquon is literally carrying my team. Peyton Barber was a highlight last week. Peyton Barber's only made like 5 points every game. Don't get me started. Y'all, kid you not. I was telling Danny and Cosmo, I didn't even know Wideout 5 was a thing. Wideout 5, I was like, how do you have a backup to the backup to the backup running back? I think I have the Philadelphia's, I have their running back's wife on my bench. Like, that's how bad. Like, I have his girlfriend. Like, I have one of their girlfriends trying to play for me because they're going to get more fantasy points than anybody I can draft right now. I have legitimately run out of players. I'm trying to draft this well, and it's dry. So, y'all don't. At the end of the day, you can go to bed knowing that your team is not shitty as mine. Absolutely nothing. Like, Akshay, you traded away good players, but homie, I had nothing to trade. I had nothing. And every time, it's literally like every time. Imagine opening up your app and watching a single player just get knocked out every week. It's like Marshawn Lynch. Like, that felt like Marshawn Lynch gone. AJ Green gone. I was like, I dropped Sony Michelle, and Cosmo beat me with the player I dropped. How do you think that feels? Like, you just turn around. Like, you get beat by players you dropped. Like Sony Michelle started off the season with like 3 points total. He picks up by Cosmo and he's like, yes, my Asian father, and just starts playing way better. I have lost to players I dropped. I lost to Aaron. He picked up Dion Lewis. I dropped Dion Lewis. I'll tell you right now. So trust me, at the end of the day, your teams are better than mine. I will see. I'm not afraid to roast myself. I'm good at what I do. I'll roast, but I roast myself too.
Yeah. So take that to heart. Don't take whatever Taylor said personally. It's all in good fun. It's all Club Phoenix blowing off some steam. But as he said, if anything hurts you, just screenshot the thing next to Taylor's team that says L-11 and just send it back to him. So yeah. Well, Taylor, thank you for letting us come to your club, and that was a great time, and I'm sure we'll be back very soon. Oh my God! All right, that was Club Phoenix with Taylor the Bouncer. So moving into our Week 11 matchup review, we're skipping keeping up with Matt this week. Nothing too interesting there. So. But let's get right into the Week 11 matchup review. Okay, so the first one that I'm looking at here, I guess because it just puts mine at the top for myself. But first matchup, we got Whip My Nips against Jimmy Garoppolo's. And this one here was predicted to be quite the blowout, 140 by me to 115 by Aaron, and it did not end up like that. I way underperformed, scoring 105 this week, and Aaron comes back and beats me 105.92 to 105.14, and yeah, that's right. Second matchup against Aaron, revenge matchup. And Aaron took me down again. That's right. Aaron's 2-0 against me this season, and I don't know what it is about playing against me, but Pat Mahomes has scored 6 touchdowns every time he plays me. So, and his 3 interceptions were not enough to take the L. But yeah, kind of disappointing week. Matt Ryan underperformed. Julio Jones has been getting touchdowns lately, so decent from him. Odell, decent. James Conner and just the Pittsburgh Steelers overall just could not do anything against Jacksonville this week. Gordon, same old good from Gordon. Ertz, complete dud this week, 2 points. Leonard Fournette, 21 points, decent. But then my kicker and defense just decided to suck it up this week. So I take the L from Aaron, losing by, yet again, less than a point. So, we've got this intense rivalry here. Who knows? Maybe we'll match up in the playoffs. I don't know. But, yeah, not looking good for me when I play Aaron. 36 points from Pat Mahomes, 20 from Antonio Brown, 15 from Christian Kirk. Who the freak is Christian Kirk? 14 from Christian McCaffrey. Why you got so many Christians on your team, bro? And Deion Lewis. I mean, look at Deion Lewis, 3 points. Trey Burton, 1 point. Dalvin Cook, half a point. Dan Bailey, 6 points. And Pittsburgh, 9 points. And he still beat me, dude. It's just not a good week for me. But Aaron keeping himself alive in playoff contention. Cosmo, what do you take away from this? Is my team look vulnerable?
No. I mean, every team has their, down week. And, I just think this was a down week by you. I don't think it's something that will be carrying forward. James Conner is not going to have 7-point weeks going forward. Jacksonville has a pretty tough run defense. I think he just ran against a pretty tough matchup. Same with Matt Ryan. Dallas surprisingly actually has a really good defense. And so I think Matt Ryan just had a little bit of tough matchups there. But I think your team's fine. I got to ask, did you heckle Patrick Mahomes at some Baylor game before or something?
Dude,
I think he has something against you.
Dude, okay, there was one incident where I pantsed him in the hallway, but I didn't think he was gonna take it personally, dude. I thought it was a joke. You know what I'm saying? Okay, granted, it was in front of a bunch of girls, and it turns out he's got a really small dick, and I think that kind of ruined his chances with them. But I don't know why he took it so hard. But now this year he has scored 12 touchdowns against me in 2 games. 2 games he scored 12 touchdowns against me. So not good.
Not good indeed. Taylor, any to close matchup between Danny and Aaron?
Honestly, like you were saying before, it's hard to really kind of go up against that. It's just I think Danny, in terms of teams, I think you've been making really smart decisions and really smart moves. Just sometimes it doesn't work out in your favor, and you can't really go up against a person who has a player from one of the highest scoring games of all time.
Look at his numbers: 478 pass yards and 6 touchdowns. That's insane, dude. That's crazy. But yeah, Pat Mahomes, great pickup by Aaron. All right, moving into our next matchup, we've got our co-host Gook with Cosmo's team going against I Heart Blacks and Africans, Akshay's team. It looks like his tactic of changing his name to try and get favor with the African American community did not work so well. Well, I mean, he got the W, so that helps. But in terms of point total, it did not look like it worked so well. I mean, Mike Evans got on board. Adrian Peterson got back on board. Apparently, Greg Zerline is on board too. He scored 12 points again. So, I mean, I think this guy just is pro life. He doesn't care about
I think
race.
he's
So
just a happy dude. It's just
yeah, I think he's
all
just a
about
happy dude.
positivity.
Yeah, he had that dark moment where he hurt his groin, and ever since then he's like, you know what, I'm gonna have a positive outlook on life. So good for him. Doug Martin didn't want to get on board. Amari Cooper didn't want to get on board, and Sanders did not want to get on board. But in this matchup, it was projected Cosmo to win 120 to 102, and that's right. Akshay squeaks out the win and just barely stays alive for playoffs, 99 to 98, getting carried by Greg Zergroin with 12 points. That's right. Akshay's team lives or dies by his kicker. It's insane. But like Cosmo said over on his end, Marcus Mariota, 3 points after leaving the game with an injury. Adam Thielen not doing so hot lately, 10 points. Kenny Galladay, 21 points. Great pickup for Cosmo there. Alvin Kamara, 17 points. Not a bad week from Alvin Kamara. I just think, the game got so out of hand that he just wasn't even needed really. But he was able to score that late touchdown. Joe Mixon, 12 points. Tough matchup against Baltimore. Very tough run defense, so 12 points I think is actually pretty decent. Jack Doyle, 6 points in this tight end landscape. You'll take it. Larry Fitzgerald, great game from Larry Fitzgerald, 15 points. And Will Lutz is actually the highest kicker right now, point total, 12 points, very consistent, always scoring over 10 points. So, I mean, it helps to be on the highest powered offense in the league pretty much. So, and even though you scored 0 by your defense, oh, never mind. You still took the L. All right. Anyway, what I was going to say. But all right, Taylor, what did you take away from this game here?
I mean, honestly, Cosmo, besides your dipshit Mariota decision, your Will Lutz play, like you have a strong team. It's just one-off week. I know it's really important and quintessential right now, but it's looking like you can curve up pretty well. I really earnestly think you only lost because your boyfriend wasn't playing, and that's why when he had a bye week, he took a vacation, so you were able to take a beating from someone else.
Yeah, dude, you didn't have the chub on your side this week.
Yeah, not having. Although, I mean, Fitzgerald, who went in his place, did pretty good with 15 points. So, I mean, really, I don't think my team did bad. It's just that one really dumbass decision to start Mariota, which I really don't. I mean, one thing in fantasy you can't do is you can't get cute. Like, you can't just look at these flashy matchups. Like, you got to play things really smart, and you just got to stick with the people that are proven and dependable. Don't get cute with the matchups and who's been hot. Like, stick with the best player. And I should have listened to my own advice, and I did not do that. And also, I was a little disappointed in Los Angeles Chargers defense. They just got Joey Bosa back, so I really thought they were going to do a lot better against freaking Case Keenum, but apparently not. So.
And I think that this season, especially, I think one of the most important roles that has been surprising has been the defense.
Mm-hmm.
The defenses have been producing. Either you have a hotshot defense that's been producing a lot of points, or you're having those defenses that are dropping you dead. And having that 0 really does hurt. So, dude, like I said, you're gonna scrap it off, and you'll be fine for the rest of your weeks.
We'll see.
All right, moving into our next matchup, we had Slavery Was Not a Choice. Nahum against anything but last Cameron. This one also had some pretty big fantasy playoff implications. Cameron was looking to get in from the outside, and Nahum was looking not to fall out of the playoffs. Projected 123 to 115 for Nahum, and Nahum snatches up that W, 140 to 125. As usual, 30 points from Drew Brees, 17 from Michael Thomas. Stephon Diggs showing up big time, 25 points for him. Tevin Coleman, 10, not bad. Kerryon Johnson, 16. Travis Kelce, 23. 8 from his kicker, not bad showing there. Cameron, Mitchell Trubisky finally comes back down to earth, scoring 10 points. How do you feel about that, Cosmo?
I think he's a bitch. Should have played it out.
T.Y. Hilton, 32 points. Great week from T.Y. Hopefully he's back now because he's very exciting to watch. DeAndre Hopkins, down week from him, 12 points. Kareem Hunt, 18 points. Not bad, but not his usual blow-up game. Tariq Cohen, bad game. OJ Howard, 10, decent for a tight end. But then his kicker and defense, 17 points from Matt Bryant and 15 points from Houston. Great week, but not enough to get the win. Nahum's looking like he's pretty much locked in for the playoffs, pretty much. Cameron, going to be a very big uphill climb. So I guess let's focus mostly on Nahum's team here. Do you think, Cosmo, he's set up pretty well for the playoffs since it looks like he's going to make it?
Yeah, I mean, it's like a freaking pendulum. Like one week he's like one of the top teams in the league, and then another week he won in some Stinky Sausage awards. I mean, and that's really scary for the playoffs because he could go up against, one of these top teams like Duncan or maybe your team, and he could just drop 160. He has that capability. He's done it multiple times. He also could drop 60 points. So, I mean, he's like one of the biggest, I think, wild cards that's going into the playoffs. It just all depends on how his players decide to do. But I think he's pretty good going into the playoffs.
All right, Taylor, what do you think about Nahum? What do you think his chances are?
I like you were saying, Cosmo, his team's really big a pendulum, and I also think that out of anybody who's in those top slots, Nahum's bench is just horrendous. It's really weak, and that's where playoffs are made. You need to have those backup players that will show out, be able to provide you that nice support that you need in case one of your big stars goes out. And right now, when I look at his bench or I look at the decisions he's made for his bench, it's just not looking good for him in terms of that category. But his capital that he's able to reach with players that, like, he has some strong, like really strong receivers that kill it when they're running their routes, their stats, their percentage increases have been insane over this season. It's hard to say. You just really never know. I think for at least the first week, I have my money on Nahum, though.
All right, moving into our fourth matchup from last week, we had the most insane game, repeat offender against President Fight Milk. That's right. This one was projected 130 to 118 in Duncan's favor, and boy, was it a doozy. It ended up being 163 to 150 with Brandon taking the W, moving to 7-4 and knocking Duncan down to 8-3. Brandon, I think he's pretty secure for the playoffs. Duncan's already clinched, but Brandon hasn't clinched yet, and there's still like a wild scenario where he doesn't make it. But his team looking like it's on the rise, and just absolutely destroyed. Got the King Sausage this week. On Duncan's side, we had 35 points from Jared Goff, 21 from Devontae Adams, 14 from Smith-Schuster. Unfortunately, Gurley was kind of, had a little bit of an ankle injury in the game.
Decided to play like a normal. Back.
10.9 points. Chris Carson, not a bad showing from him, 12 points. Jordan Reed, 16. Robert Woods, 15. And then 15 points from his defense. Very, very nice there. On Brandon's side, 21 points from Aaron Rodgers, always consistent around the 20-point area. Almost 40 points from Tyreek Hill. He's just been an absolute monster ever since Pat Mahomes has come in, just slinging that ball all over the field. 14 points from Brandon Cooks. Almost 30 points from Zeke. Marlon Mack, 13 points. Nice compliment to Zeke. Mark Ingram, 22 points. Doing very well in that Saints offense. And then Justin Tucker, always reliable, 12 points. And a decent amount of points from his defense. So, 0 points from his tight end. If Brandon can just get his tight end spot figured out, he's going to be one of the biggest contenders in the league. Cosmo, does it frustrate you how Brandon seems to pay very little attention to making moves or anything, kind of stays stagnant the entire season, and yet always somehow has an amazing team for playoffs?
Hey, there's a reason. Champ. He's got those instincts on those players, and I think the one guy that I really underestimated coming. I didn't think he was going to be bad by any means, but I really just did not expect Tyreek Hill to be this good and this consistent. Like, I think the one thing I was afraid of was he's going to be a little bit like last season where he's a little up and down. He would have some really stinker of a weeks. But he's, as long as Mahomes throwing to him, if I'm not mistaken, I looked at last week. He was the number one fantasy receiver, and I'm sure that stayed the same after this week. So, underestimated there on that end. And Duncan, still had a good week. It's just a tough luck matchup.
Yeah, Duncan's team's still looking strong. Taylor, what are you taking away from this?
What can we say about these two teams? Like, you've got the highest point. It was basically the equivalent of the last game we just watched, KC versus the Rams. They've got they got so many shooters on their team, and I know that you think that Brandon's not paying attention to his team, but man, it's just if you go to his transactions, he's just been making some very smart, calculated moves. He keeps on picking up very key players, or has an instinct on it. Whatever, it's amazing. And the one spot that he's working on, I think he's got that fixed this week. But I think we're going to talk about that later. Yeah. So
Yeah, we'll get into that. So our final matchup. Yeah, no, I didn't mean
no, we
Brandon
can
doesn't
skip it.
like just leave his team alone, but I think it's always interesting to me how Brandon is more keen to just sit and wait on his players, and it always seems to work out. You know, he makes those smart transactions, but a lot of these players on his team are people he drafted. And even though he had that dip in the middle of the season where he lost a few games in a row, things were kind of not looking so great. You know, then you look at his team now and it's everyone's back on the rise. So, yeah, it's interesting how he just doesn't panic and he you know, waits to see what happens and has faith in his players. But I think when you're coming from a side where it's like you know, you're working hard, you're putting all this effort into it and stuff, it's interesting to see how sometimes it just plays out. But all right, moving into our final matchup. Sorry, Taylor, but we've got Curry Jizz Rahi going against All I Need Is Saquon Taylor. This matchup was projected to be very close, and it was very close, 104 to 103 in favor of Rahi, and it ended up Rahi winning 105.68 to 105.48. That is right. Taylor came within 0.2 points of his first win of the season. There's a lot of trash talk from Rahi on this one, and I'm sure he was shaking in his boots. But, you know, 24 points from Cam Newton, 15 points from David Johnson, 24 from Philip Lindsay. If you've ever seen Philip Lindsay run, I don't know how he's so good. I swear, he brings his knees to his chest every time he runs, and like he just looks so funky, and he runs like straight up. And I don't know, but this dude, great pickup by Raw. He's doing so well this year. On Taylor's side, 34 points from Saquon, just amazing as usual. 18 points from Peyton Barber and 17 points from Josh Reynolds. Fortunately, was not enough. Josh Reynolds just needed one more catch, but Jared Goff didn't look his way very much the second half. So unfortunately for Taylor, did not slip out that win, did not knock Rahi down into the questionable playoff contention, but you know, not. I'd say, you know, Taylor, you should be pretty proud of this week because I mean you know, it was close. Everyone was pulling for you. Everyone was looking at Josh Reynolds, hoping just to get another catch, everything, but you know, it didn't work out. But are you proud of this week, or how do you feel about this week?
I mean, this is the closest thing I've ever felt to like a light in my season. And how could I be mad about that? You know, false bravado aside, every season is like, I mean, every game has been darkness and nothing but knowing that you're inevitably going to lose. But at least this game, I felt very positive on. And you know what? I mean this very earnestly. And this is coming from just experience this season. I think that losing so much makes you play and learn fantasy smarter because you don't have shit. So you have to play with little pieces and you have to study and look at a lot of articles, rely on a lot of friends who send helpful text messages and things like that. Like it's a lot of like actually me paying attention, and I guess it's made me a better coach. So hopefully gearing up for next season, I'm really just sad that I wanted to beat Rahi. I had so many memes made up, just ready to go. Like, literally, I have been upping the meme game so much. I've got it ready to go for him.
Dude, those memes are fire.
I know, dude.
Yeah.
The one where you had Rahi's picture and you were laughing, I was dying. I could not. I was laughing so hard on that one, but
yeah, that took some work.
Cosmo, what do you take away by this matchup?
On Rahi's, you know, he was hyping up Marquise Valdes-Scantling all last week, saying this guy was the savior, and look what he did here, 1.3 points. So bad call in there by Rahi, and Golden Tate has not been looking good since he got traded. So I think Rahi's receiver core, I feel like earlier in the season it was like kind of the opposite. Like his receivers were really good and his running backs were shaky. But I feel like it's done a little bit of swap here where his running backs are definitely the strength now. And on Taylor's team, I think enough has been said, but one thing I did want to point out, I know he didn't really have a factor too much into this game because he was on a bye, but I feel like if you're giving a handy to Saquon Barkley, I feel like George Kittle deserves a little bit of something.
Oh
There's
yeah.
a little bit of something, Taylor.
He is getting like George Kittle. I will honestly admit, George Kittle is definitely my second piece. He is my side hoe. I slut that bitch out as much as I can. He has been performing so well, and I have to give it up. I think that one of the worst positions to have in this fucking league is tight end, and I haven't had to worry about that this season, which is a blessing in disguise. Too bad it don't mean shit when you're at the bottom. 0-11, 0-11. Oh, yeah,
Hey,
like it
I
sucks.
mean, yeah, it's a little too late now. But I mean, look, if AJ Green comes back healthy, you got AJ Green, you got Saquon, you got George Kittle, and you got Josh Reynolds. Like that's not a bad team. It's just things haven't gone your way. But I mean, you've made great moves, and hopefully next year you can use this fuel, you can use this experience you've gained to be one of the top teams in the league. But all right, that is our Week 11 matchup review. Our biggest surprises of the week and kind of where we went wrong. For myself, I was just amazed. My biggest surprise. I mean, in the back of my head, I knew it, but it just was interesting to see it happen in front of my eyes. How many fantasy players come from the Chiefs and the Rams? Because like normally when you go into a Monday night game, maybe like so we got 5 matchups every week. I'd say 3 of them are usually pretty much already done. And then there's a couple that are depending on some Monday night people. But for the most part, no one really ever talks about the Monday night game. Nothing's really ever decided by the Monday night game. I had that one a couple weeks ago where I was able to squeak out the win against Cameron because of the Monday night game. But other than that, not many people talk about it. But this one, I mean, pretty much every matchup this week, almost every matchup had something important from this game. And it was just amazing. You got Greg Zerline, you got Harrison Butker on the kickers for both teams who are really good. You got Gurley, you got Josh Reynolds, you got Robert Woods, you got Jared Goff, you've got Brandon Cooks. You've got Los Angeles defense. You've got Pat Mahomes. You got Tyreek Hill. You got Kareem Hunt. You got Travis Kelce. It's just like insane the amount of people that are on these two teams and how great their offenses are. And then on the flip side of that, both of those teams are on bye this week, and you can see how bad it hurts. I mean, I'm looking down the projections for next week. We'll get into that in a second. But I mean, man, some of these teams that normally are projected like 120 points, you look at them this week, they're projected like 60 because they're missing 3 players from one of those teams or something. So to me, it was just amazing to see, how relevant that Monday night game was and how many players come from both those teams I mean, normally on a team, you've got maybe like 3 relevant fantasy people, like 1 wide receiver, a running back, a quarterback, something like that. But I mean, this one, there's just so many. Cosmo, what was your biggest surprise or kind of where you went wrong last week?
I've already beat this horse to death, but don't trust the Titans. Don't ever trust the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah. All right. Well, moving on from that, moving into our key transactions, Cosmo, hit us with these real quick.
All right. Yeah, we got a couple of waiver moves and a trade, maybe what might be our last trade of the season with the trade deadline coming up this Saturday. But first off, Brandon might have filled a weakness by picking up Cameron Brate, dropped Ben Watson. I think this is a pretty good move because unfortunately, O.J. Howard is now out for the season. And so Brate is the top guy and has a rapport with Jameis Winston, who will be starting this week. So I thought that was a pretty good pickup.
I think it's an amazing pickup. I mean, whenever Howard had 59.6% of the snap count. We're talking about a 60% of snap count. That's definitely going to come up. And Brate had I'm just like I don't. For me, this blew my mind. Like how we could let that happen in this league. Like how we can let Brandon get another key piece in his team because now he's fucking ready to go.
Yeah. This makes Brandon's team a lot scarier than it did last week, so it plays out for him. Rahi picked up the aforementioned Traquan Smith and dropped Aldrick Rosas, his kicker. I think that's a pretty good matchup there. And then Danny, you picked up Gus Edwards, who had a breakout game this week with the Ravens, and you dropped Malcolm Brown. What was your thought process behind that move?
So I had one of the top waiver picks, and I've kind of been holding on to it for a couple of weeks now, just waiting for something good or juicy. And I was deciding if I wanted to carry that into the playoffs. But I kind of looked at this as I think this could potentially be one of the last like big running back pickups, one of the last pickups where you look at it and go, oh, like you gotta snag that guy. And so I was like, maybe even if I don't play him on my team, and plus he has one of the juiciest matchup schedules for running backs. I mean, pretty much everyone the Ravens face from here on out is in the bottom like 3 or bottom like 5 for running back points on fantasy. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna burn my waiver priority. I'm gonna snag him. Just mostly, okay, if he breaks out, it's good to have running back depth, but mostly to keep him away from other people because I didn't want to go in like if I make the playoffs, I didn't want to go up against someone where Gus Edwards scores 25 points and beats me. So because you see every year, you see these running backs come off of waivers right before the playoffs, and then they just carry someone through the playoffs. So I just kind of mostly wanted to keep it. I didn't really want to drop Malcolm Brown just because I like having that handcuff over Duncan, especially with Gurley having an ankle injury in the last game. But they're on bye. I kind of wanted to grab Gus Edwards more, so I just decided to drop him and pick up Gus Edwards because he had that breakout game. The coach comes out later and is saying like, you know, this is the guy we need for our team. He gives us something we haven't had the rest of the year, just totally trashing Alex Collins right in the freaking public eye in their press conference. He's like, this is the guy we need. We haven't had a running back like this all year. I'm like, Alex Collins is sitting in the corner like, oh, coach, you forgot about me. But yeah, so not good, but juicy matchup for him. And I was like, I'm just going to put him on my bench. Maybe that comes to hurt me in the playoffs. Maybe there's a juicy pickup on the waivers in the playoffs. But looking at my team, looking at my depth, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna burn the waiver priority here. I'm gonna grab him and stash him on my bench. So I decided to do that.
Yeah, I think that was a good match. And support the fact that running backs that play with a very mobile quarterback are really helped by that.
Yeah.
I think it was like a couple of years ago where Alfred Morris had like by far his best season. He was a top 10 player, and that's when he was running with RG3. So I think being with Lamar Jackson really helped Gus Edwards if he continues to get the job. But finally, we have maybe our last trade of the season. I mean, we'll see. The trade deadline Saturday, so make a trade. Get on that right now. But I made a trade with Akshay. I traded him LaShawn McCoy, and I got Marvin Jones. And I thought it was a pretty fair trade. I know Akshay's gotten a lot of flack over the last couple podcasts for some bad trades, but I actually think this is a good win-win trade for both of us. I really needed a receiver, and I think Marvin Jones, when he comes back healthy, he's going to be good. A lot better for the Lions now that Golden Tate's not there. He's like top 5 in the league in red zone targets, so he has a lot of opportunity there. And then Akshay, I know McCoy has been great this year, but in the games that Nate Peterman, the absolute terrible quarterback that we've all beaten to death on this podcast and everyone in media has beat to death, whenever LaShawn McCoy is playing without Nathan Peterman, he's either had Josh Allen or is it Matt Barkley? He's averaged 12.5 fantasy points per game. So, I think he could be a solid RB2 for Akshay, which is something he really, really needs.
All right. Well, those are our key transactions for moving into week 12. We'll have to see, we'll update next week on if any crazy trades happen or whatever before the deadline coming up. But maybe everyone's traded out. We'll have to see. But all right, moving right into our week 12 matchup preview. Let's get right into these predictions. As usual, we're running a little bit late on time, but let's get into these matchups real quick. All right, number 1, we've got Whip My Nips myself, 5th place, 6-5, going against the number 1 seed, President Fight Milk, 8-3 in first. I'm still probably going to lose just because that's how things roll with me. But lucky break catching Duncan on this bye week part because I am currently projected 142 to 115 over Duncan. And that's because this week he does not have Todd Gurley, does not have Jared Goff, and does not have Robert Woods or his kicker, Harrison Butker. Everyone is on bye this week, so his top scoring people of every week so far are on bye. This week I got Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, Odell Beckham, James Conner, Melvin Gordon, Zach Ertz, Leonard Fournette, and then I picked up the Los Angeles Chargers kicker and New England defense. So President Fight Milk, Duncan, is swapping into his QB spot. Carson Wentz coming off one of the worst games in like fantasy quarterback history, scoring 0.84 points. That's right, a quarterback scored 0.84. I think the only one worse than this was last year when Andy Dalton scored negative points in his first game. So, yeah, it's not good, but he's playing him against the Giants, hoping for better stuff. He's got Devontae Adams in a tough matchup against Minnesota, Juju Smith-Schuster against Denver, Chris Carson against Carolina, James White against the Jets, and then Jordan Reed against Dallas, and Keenan Allen against Arizona. Real quick, Taylor, who do you think is going to take the victory in this one?
Does it really matter? I mean, to be honest, I don't want either of them to win. My opinion is bad.
All right. Well, thanks, Taylor. All right, Cosmo, what do you think on this one?
Yeah, and just side blah about Rams and the Chiefs. So I think the Saints are going to win the Super Bowl. But anyways, I think that I think Danny, you're going to take this one. I think you're just catching Duncan right at the right time. He doesn't have Gurley. He doesn't have Robert Woods, who's been really great, and I think it'll be close. Like, he's by no means an easy matchup this week. He's still got a great team even without his top players, but I think I think Matt Ryan will bounce back. I think James Conner will bounce back, and ultimately, I think you will get the victory there.
All right, moving into our next matchup, we've got Cosmo in sixth place, also 6-5, going against Jimmy Garoppolo's 5-6 and seventh place for the juiciest matchup of the week. That's right, all our juice in week 12 is coming from this matchup because Cosmo is on the border of playoffs and Aaron is right outside the bubble looking to get in. And that's right, this matchup could have huge implications on who gets into the playoffs. So right now we've got Cosmo projected 130 over 118 for Aaron. Cosmo's got Phillip Rivers in his lineup this week. Adam Thielen against Green Bay. Kenny Golladay, Kamara, Mixon, Doyle, Chubb back in his lineup. Will Lutz and the Chargers defense. And on the other side, oh boy, Cosmo does not have to go against Patrick Mahomes. That's right. Aaron picked up Baker Mayfield to take his spot against Cincinnati. Still a pretty juicy matchup for quarterbacks, so we'll have to see what happens there. But luckily, does not have to go against Patrick Mahomes. Got Antonio Brown, Jarvis Landry, Christian McCaffrey, Dion Lewis, Trey Burton, and he's taken another shot at Dalvin Cook this week. So very, very intense matchup. Taylor, what do you? I mean, the implications of this matchup are huge. What are you taking away from this matchup, and who do you think wins?
I don't think anybody who comes from this game is actually going to win the league. So I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with my boy Cosmo here. Honestly, I don't like, even if Aaron makes it through this game, I genuinely don't think he's going to win his next matchup after that. So I think that you have a well put together team, and if you just, like I said, you only lost last week out of a dumb decision. And so one dumb decision against a team of many dumb decisions, I think you'll be okay.
Yeah, I'm looking at this matchup, and it's crazy that it's boiled down to this, but I think I'm just getting this vibe. I'm gonna take Aaron this week, dude. I think Baker Mayfield is all of a sudden gonna pop off and have like a 30-point game. Antonio Brown's been looking good. Christian McCaffrey is doing well, and maybe Dalvin Cook has another like 70-yard run this week. But I think Aaron's gonna squeak out this win and unfortunately make Cosmo start sweating for that playoff contention. Cosmo, are you nervous for this matchup?
Yeah, thanks for that support. Yeah, I'm definitely nervous. Even paper, my team, it looks better just based off matchups. Like Kamara's going against Atlanta, who are terrible against running backs that catch passes. Mixon's got a juicy matchup against Cleveland. Chubb's got a juicy matchup against Cincinnati. But I just have this weird sinking feeling. I mean, the projections never are true, and things don't ever go according to what looks right on paper. And I just have this sinking feeling that not only am I going to lose, but I think the person that is going to put the nail in the coffin is going to be the same guy that I bust preseason before week 1, Dalvin Cook. one of my best season. He's definitely been a bust, but I just have this sinking feeling that he's going to exact his revenge on me and take me out this week. But I guess we will see.
we'll have to see what happens in that juicy matchup. All right, next up, we're not going to dwell too much on this one, but we got Nahum 7-4 in fourth place against Akshay 4-7 in ninth place, 115 to 102 in favor of Nahum. Akshay clawing to the playoff for his life for playoffs right now. Absolutely needs the win to even remotely stay in contention. Even then, it's a small chance. But just real quick, give me a winner or a loser. Cosmo, who do you think's gonna? Do you think Akshay wins and just barely stays afloat, or do you think Nahum strikes him down and puts the nail in the coffin?
Well, it's a rematch of the. It's a juicy matchup there, but yeah, I mean Akshay's starting Theo Riddick, so I gotta go with Nahum on this one.
Yeah, Sausage Bowl trial rematch. We'll see. This will tell us who really should have won the trial. This will tell us trial by combat. Taylor, who do you think's gonna win this matchup?
Nahum. I think the pendulum is still swinging his way.
That's right. The consensus is that Nahum will put the nail in the coffin in Akshay's team this week. I think he got lucky last week, just barely staying alive, and Nahum's going to knock him out of contention this week. So moving into our fourth matchup, we've got Rahi Curry Jizz going against repeat offender Brandon. Brandon is on a 5-game win streak, but unfortunately this week will be without Tyreek Hill and Brandon Cooks. Do you think Rahi's gotten lucky again and just caught someone at the perfect time, or do you think Brandon is going to take the win here and keep his streak going, Cosmo?
Honestly, Rahi's been getting luck all season. I don't see any reason to continue this week, so I'm gonna go with Rahi.
All right, Taylor, rapid fire, Rahi or Brandon?
Brandon. I don't think Rahi's gonna win.
All right, sticking with his boy, he picks Brandon. Yeah, at some point, Rahi's luck just has to run. Like, it just mathematically, you can't be the 8th scorer per average per week and be 8-3. It just doesn't make sense. I'm happy for Rahi. I know he's had a troublesome season. He's made some decent moves to stay afloat, but it just doesn't mathematically make sense. Even though he's got Tyreek Hill, Brandon Cooks on bye, I think Brandon will still squeak out the win here and keep his streak alive, looking really good for playoffs. All right, our final matchup here. We've got All I Need Is Saquon, our esteemed guest, Taylor, 0-11, going against anything but last, Cameron, 4-7. And right now, Taylor is projected to blow out Cameron 110-71. Cameron's quarterback is on bye, and Kareem Hunt is on bye, and his tight end is out for the season. So Taylor's got Jameis Winston this week, Saquon Barkley, George Kittle's back in his lineup, and AJ Green is actually projected to probably be back this week. So looking pretty good for Taylor so far. Cameron's got some rough spots. He's probably going to have to play Lamar Miller. Don't know if he's actually going to show up for him or not, but we'll have to see. All right, Cosmo, just who do you think is going to win this week? You think Taylor gets his first win this week?
I do not. I'm banking on that 0-13. I want to see it happen. I think Cameron will win. I think Cohen's going to have a nice game. I think Trubisky being out is actually maybe a good thing for Cohen. Chase Daniels is going to throw a lot of just quick check down plays, and I think that's really going to benefit Cohen. So I'm going to say Cameron wins on the back of Tariq Cohen.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Cameron just for the sake that I want to see the 0-12 versus Brandon matchup next week and just see how that storyline plays out. So just for that sake, I'm gonna go with Cameron. Taylor, are you confident? Do you think you're gonna get that first win in the season?
I actually think that this is probably just like Rahi's game, one of the best weeks chance to have to get a win. But I really don't want to get a win from trash. So I'll take a loss. I hope Cameron wins because if I beat him, it's worth me losing anyway. So there's nothing better than I'd rather lose than win, to be honest. Because look,
that's how far we've come.
All right.
But hey, no, seriously, I think it'll be a good game. Once Cameron fixes up his team, it'll be another close one.
Yeah. All right, those are our matchups for this week in Week 12. Let's get real quick into those last week bold predictions. We had Cosmo say Larry Fitzgerald will finish as a top 3 wide receiver this week. He was wrong, but Larry Fitzgerald did have a great week, scoring 15.3 points. I don't know where that put him in the rankings, but not a top 3 week for Larry Fitzgerald, but very good call on that of him coming back with the new offensive coordinator. Myself, I said that Taylor James Manazza is going to get his first dub, and I was unfortunately wrong. He lost by 0.2 points, but was very close to getting that. So, and then Rahi, said John Gruden will hire Mike McCoy as his offensive coordinator, and unfortunately, he did not do that, even though we all wanted it to happen. But all right, this week's bold predictions. Myself, I am saying that Brandon follows up his stellar, amazing performance with a stanky sausage. That's right. He's going to go from scoring 163 points to scoring 60 points, and he's going to snag that stanky sausage this week. Yeah, so Brandon, great fantasy player, always relevant, making the smartest moves out there, being patient. But I think this week, just before the playoffs, he's going to have a little bit of a stinker. So, Brandon, stanky sausage this week. Cosmo, real quick, what was yours?
I think that I'm gonna help Taylor and possibly curse him, but I think Jameis Winston is going to finish top quarterback this week. He's going to score over 40 points. Forget Patrick Mahomes. It's all about crab legs Winston. The Tampa Bay quarterback, when you combine the performance between him and Fitzpatrick, have actually averaged the second most fantasy points per game for a quarterback behind Patrick Mahomes.
It's the funniest thing. It's the funniest thing. If you take Jameis Winston and Ryan Fitzpatrick's score every week and add them together, they're the number 2 quarterback on the season. So because some games one of them starts for the first half and then gets benched and the other one comes in and then that one lights it up. If you combine them and just say the Tampa Bay quarterback is the number 2 on the season, it's the craziest thing. But you start each of them and you get burned every week. It's the craziest thing to think about. But all right, Taylor, our esteemed guest, the bouncer of Club Phoenix, hit us with your bold prediction of Week 12.
I think this week is the week of trash. I think the garbage squad are going to win all of their games. So I'm saying Akshay, Aaron, and I want you to beat me, Cameron. See, the garbage squad, the people who have chances for playoffs, I really feel like this is going to be the start for an upset.
Ooh.
Dang.
I mean,
when
that
Sorry, you cut out, Cosmo. What'd you say?
Oh, I said, shouldn't that count your team too, Taylor?
It would, but I'm playing Cameron. So, I'd rather give him a benefit than me. Literally, me winning does nothing but detriment him. And normally I am definitely a crab-grabbing person, so I'll drag his ass down with me. However, I think it'd be really exciting for the final week to go in with Cameron coming off of a win, Aaron coming off of a win, you guys, because you're close too, and Akshay coming off of a win. I really think that I want that 13th week to be so exciting.
Yeah, it'll be really nice to keep it interesting for playoffs. We don't want to have a dud week. All right, Taylor, heard it here first. Trash Squad wins this week, wins out. I say Brandon follows up his stellar King Sausage performance with a nasty, stanky sausage. And Cosmo says that Crab Legs Winston will finish as the top quarterback this week and score over 40 points. The first quarterback all year to score over 40 points. So that'd be absolutely crazy. But there you have it, our bold predictions of Week 12. And that wraps up our Week 12 matchup preview and also wraps up our show. So that's right. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in for episode 12 of the Sausage Bowl podcast. We love doing this podcast for you guys, and we want to keep it rolling. And we're very happy that we could get everyone on here. And now we're going to kind of move into some repeat guests and stuff as we gear up for the playoffs. We'll have to hit those people up and get things going. But yeah, keep on listening. Stay tuned, even if maybe you're out of the playoffs, because we try to keep it interesting for you guys and keep it relevant. So thank you for tuning in. Taylor, thank you for gracing us with your presence this week. Do you have any last words for our audience?
I have, one positive, one negative. Then let me just go ahead and get the positive. Hey, guys, once again, let me repeat. They were jokes. Please. I really felt like I went on y'all, but I wanted to come in swinging. Had to be funny with everything. So I hope I'm wishing everybody a great season. I had a lot of fun. I've been dying to finally get on the podcast so I can voice my opinions. And the final thing is that I'm joking. It wasn't jokes. All of you guys are shit. Every single one of you guys are the epitome of trash. Every single one of you players. You think I really care? Come on. You ain't ever getting into Club Phoenix. I'm always the only person in there.
Ouch. Yeah, not good. But all right, Cosmo, co-host Cosmo, any last words for our audience this week?
Yeah, if I don't mind a show, might go missing. So just giving that.
So I might be in
forewarning
need
there.
of another co-host here on this podcast. But all right, yeah. So thank you everyone for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Hope you were able to blow off some steam in Club Phoenix, and looking forward to see kind of what happens this week and see what kind of playoff implications we're looking at for Week 13 as we gear up for playoffs. So thank you for tuning in, and have a great week. Hope everyone has a great Thanksgiving. Stay safe if you're traveling. Hope you enjoy it all with your family and everything, whatever you're doing this week. But hope you enjoyed this podcast as well for this week. And good luck with the fantasy. We got a lot of games tomorrow. We'll know a lot of players already tomorrow. Then we got a bunch on Sunday. So be on the lookout. Be ready for our podcast next week. Thanks for the support. Thanks for listening. And we will see you guys next week. This is the Sausage Bowl Podcast signing out.
Gobble, gobble.